Hey guys, Marco from Feel Like an Athlete here, and in this week's video I want to do a video about alcohol consumption and how it might be stalling your progress, or you might be struggling with it and you want to make some better decisions around it. So I want to help with that because it's something that hasn't just come up, it always comes up. It is always a question, and I think in this day and age when alcohol is a very, very big part of our lives and the social scene, especially heading into the end of the year, I think it's a relevant one. So first things first, alcohol is not for free. When we talk about calories, it is almost as expensive as fats, and I just did a video about fats. So when we talk about calories per gram, protein and carbs are 4 calories per gram, alcohol is 7 calories per gram, and fat is 9 calories per gram. So it's pretty high on that list. So you need to be aware that if you are someone who is trying to watch what they're eating and they're trying to stay in a deficit or eating fairly healthy, obviously the first thing being you're trying to be consistent, but if you're someone who is doing that, you might be having some steady weight loss, but then it's the weekends, you notice it's at weekends where you have some pretty, you might be busy, you might have some nights out. They're the weekends where nothing really happens, or maybe weight goes up. The reason is because alcohol is quite expensive with calories. So, well, one thing I because a lot of my clients do not count their macros, one thing that I mentioned to them is that, especially on the weekends, say if they're not training on Saturday and Sunday, their intake of food doesn't have to be as high as during the week when they are training, or if they work really busy physical jobs. So the first thing would be if say it's a Sunday and you're going out that night, but for the rest of the Sunday you're not really doing much. You stick to your main meals. You maybe might skip out on a snack. Just make sure that you're following the rules that we follow with Feel Like an Athlete. Or that you might not have, or you might not overeat or indulge as much during dinner or even lunch that day, so that you're not bringing your overall calories up. And then stick to a rule with your alcohol. So if you're gonna have 4 drinks, try and stick to that rule. But you've known that during the day you haven't eaten as much, so there's, I guess, a little bit of buffer, a little bit of room, because alcohol has calories, right? So to give you guys a little bit of an idea with the calories, what I like to have most of my clients stick to is red wine, some like low strength beer. So I'll give you guys some numbers. So red wine, a glass of red wine on average has 85 calories, which is pretty good. But vodka sodas are about 65 calories. Low strength beers around 100 calories. Funnily enough, champagne's under 100 calories. Gin and tonic's just over 100 calories. So they're your best options. And that doesn't mean to go and have like 7 glasses of red wine, because then you've had like 500 calories. And there goes your deficit, unless you're following what I just said earlier on in the video. Things like bourbon and Coke, 200 calories, espresso martini, nearly 300 calories. They're the ones you've got to watch out for. You have 2 espresso martinis and like 5 vodka sodas, you're nearly at the 1,000 mark. You're over the 1,000 mark, right, for calories. So yeah, be mindful of that. Be mindful of that. That's why I recommend that you stick to like a certain amount of drinks that you're going to have for the day. The other thing is, if you guys notice, when you drink alcohol, your appetite, or you want to eat more carb heavy foods, and that's because drinking alcohol actually drops our blood sugar, and then in turn we look for those heavy carb foods to then bring our blood sugar back to normal. That's why we want chips and burgers and stuff after a big night out, or the standard kebab. Whatever happened to kebab shops? Are kebab shops still around? I feel like, I don't know. I don't go out that much anymore, so I don't know if kebab shops are still around. I hope they're doing well. I hope they're doing well. So yeah, that's something to keep in mind as well. And then the last thing would be, just be conscious of, you guys know yourselves and what alcohol works for you and what doesn't. If I said drink red wine is only like 85 calories a glass, and you're going to have 2 or 3, but you know that red wine really knocks you around and it's going to ruin you for the next day, try and stay away from red wine, because the idea is you go out, you have your fun, but then you're back on track the next day. You want to minimize the damage the next day as much as possible. You don't want to be in bed all day that you miss preparing some food, or you miss like your afternoon walk with your dog. That's part of your exercise for that week, or your activity for the week. So that's another thing to keep in mind. So I hope that helps. It's a bit of a quick video. Just make sure that you guys are mindful of your intake that day before you go out that night, and that you're not overdoing it. All right. Thanks, guys.